Hey guys, so finally I have made the time to do my official movie review for Night School, Kevin Hart's new movie that's going to be coming out on September 28th, which is my birthday, by the way. I've been kind of busy all day today, like with school, so I wanted to do it earlier, like actually between my classes, but I didn't have time. Like today was a really, really busy day, so finally, you guys. Finally, I get the chance to do this movie review, and I have quite a bit to share you guys about this movie. By the way, yesterday was the actual official movie premiere out here in Los Angeles, California, that they had for Night School. It was a star-studded event. I mean, it was white people, black people, all kinds of people there, y'all. And I was there front and center. I actually was invited to attend the movie premiere, and I ended up inviting one of my friends, a colleague, to go with me. So it was a really exciting time. I actually went live. So for you guys who missed it, you guys can go back and watch my live videos that I did yesterday when I was at the movie premiere. But y'all, it was awesome. The movie premiere actually was downtown at Regal Cinemas LA Live in downtown LA. I mean, y'all, it was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful turnout, by the way. You guys can see, but I hate that when I put the camera on myself, like it flips it. So this is all flip, but this is actually my ticket that I got. And as you guys can see, I was sitting right in the front. Orchestra section is actually in the front, row A, seat 6. I was in the very front, you guys, in the front, which actually was not a bad spot considering that I was like right there in front of Kevin Hart. Like when he was out in the front, which I'm going to post some more videos later, but when he came down at the start of the movie and he was kind of giving a spill about the movie and what it was like, developing the project. You guys know this is a Kevin Hart production. Like this is a Heartbeat production that he produced, him and Will Packer. And by the way, I got a chance to take a picture with Will Packer, y'all. Like it was nice. Like I felt it was so much love in the building. Like just it was all positive, nothing negative. And by the way, this necklace I got from one this lady that was actually visiting Los Angeles. Her son is an actor, and she wanted to like show him what it was like, how movie premieres go out here in LA. So she was just hanging out. She didn't have tickets to the premiere, but she was like hanging out, in the crowd, and she was selling some jewelry, and I ended up supporting her, black woman. So hey, that's just me. I like to support black owned businesses, but I just like this piece. I actually got this piece yesterday, but y'all, let me tell you. So I'm gonna give you guys like a kind of little brief overview about what the premiere was like, and then I'll give you guys the review of the movie. It was like, y'all. So the premiere. So the premiere. I mean, I got there early because I wanted to make sure that, I had me a good spot, because it's all about first come, first serve. Although you have tickets to these premieres, like, it's not no guarantee, that you're going to be let in because there's so many people. But yes, I was actually, believe it or not, you guys, like, I was the first person in line. And I just felt good, like being the first person in line, like, yeah, and I guess that's the reason why I actually got a front row seat because I was like the first person in line, literally, you guys. And so, being that I was one of the first 40 people in line, they actually allowed us to go on the red carpet area where they have like all the celebrities come and, we get to take pictures. And so, like I said, I get a lot of video that I made of the celebrities, on the red carpet. It was pictures, video, like it was really nice, y'all. And what can I say? Like, being that it was nightfall actually when the red carpet event started to take place, it was getting kind of dark, but they still had light, so you can still see. It's very much like well lit, and you can see like the celebrities coming up like in their limousines, in their SUV, black SUVs or whatever. It was like we can see them getting out the SUV, coming onto the red carpet. Like I have video footage of all of that, you guys know, like I am an aspiring filmmaker. I'm actually in the process of developing like documentaries. When you guys look at some of my work, you guys can see that I actually put together a documentary for Ubawa to feature African American authors. It's kind of windy out here. So I do have some experience of my own, like creating films. I've done some short films. You know, you guys can go check the pre-visuals out that I created on my website at danielleleach.com. So I just like kind of being behind, not in front of the camera. And it's kind of ironic because you guys see, like I do vlogs, I'm always in front of the camera, but my preference is really behind the camera. Like I see myself as a writer slash director, so slash producer. So I prefer to like be behind the camera. And so, you know, being that I was able to witness this, of course I'm recording, you know, like that's just my thing. I like to record. I like to document things, you know, because I feel like, you know, it's a way that we can just save our important memories and go back and watch them. And it was just amazing. So I'm sitting here documenting the whole thing, you know, watching the celebrities get out their vehicles, and yeah, like it was just so much positive energy. But one thing I can't overlook this. I have to note that you know how like black celebrities talk about how they don't feel treated the same as like white celebrities in Hollywood. Like I kind of sense that, you know, because like you had like the white celebrities come out on the red carpet, and again, like I said, I was right there front and center. Like I'm right there, you guys. Like it's like me here, and the celebrities like right there. You guys can see that from my videos that I posted. And so most of the white celebrities kind of showed up first, and they went on the red carpet first. I don't know if it was something that was set up, you know, according to the people who were coordinating the event or what, but that's just how it went, where the white celebrities came out, and it was just like a lot of people were taking pictures of them. But when the black celebrities showed up, they were still taking pictures, you know. And I'm not talking about Kevin Hart's like entourage. This is like before Kevin Hart truck came up, but like the other black celebrities, right, came up, and they were like, people were taking pictures of them, but it wasn't, I don't know, it's like nobody really know who they were. Nobody was really paying them any attention. I don't know, I just felt like they were kind of like pushed to the side, you know, kind of overlooked somewhat. Whereas the white celebrities, like everybody, all the photographers and videographers and cameramen, like had their cameras ready to go, you know, snapping pictures, and you know, all the flashing lights, all that what goes along with the whole paparazzi thing. Like they were just all over them, you know. So me being the pro-black person I am, and being that I was like front and center, I was right there, of course I had to show my love and support to the black celebrities. I feel like shit, nobody else ain't supporting them, so hey, I'm here to support them, which I did. And I was shouting out black power. I was like, black power, you know. I was like, my black is beautiful, just giving them love, because I felt like, okay, all these white videographers here, white paparazzi here, you know, cameraman here, and they just like all over the white celebrities, but hell, can the black celebrities get some love too, you know? And it seemed like the black celebrities, being that they weren't getting as much love, because you can tell, like I read body language very well, and it's like I'm looking at the black celebrities, watching them, looking at the white celebrities getting like all this attention, and everybody just taking pictures of them, and it's almost like as if they were invisible, so to speak, you know. And you can see like the somber look on their faces, just like, why am I here? I'm just doing this, okay, because I support Kevin Hart, but they looking like, why am I even here, you know? And I don't know, I felt something about that, you know. So I was like, black power, you know, my black is beautiful. I was like, look at all the beautiful black celebrities here, you know, just showing them love and boosting them up and everything. And then eventually, Kevin Hart's entourage came, you know. I saw one of the Plastic Cup Boys. He was there with his daughter and I think his wife. Ludacris showed up. What's his name? Fat Joe. I think he's from New York. Pretty sure he's from New York. He was there. He's actually in the movie, and I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later. Like his role in the movie, y'all. It was funny. Excuse me, y'all. Feels like something is in my nose, which is the wrong time to be checking for that now. But yeah, so who else was there? I'm terrible with names. Yvonne, because I was with my colleague and she watched TV. I'm like, I don't really watch TV, so a lot of those people, like, I don't know who the hell they is, right? And she was like, oh, that's Yvonne. And I was like, who is she? And it's like, she's the girl from Insecure. So she was there. It was a good amount of black celebrities there, and I felt like a lot of them like were celebrities like who live maybe in Atlanta, but of course a lot of them live, like, I feel like a lot of black celebrities live in Atlanta, but then of course you still have your handful that live out here in LA. So then, of course, eventually Kevin Hart, he showed up with Tiffany Haddish, and I'm just like, okay, okay. I like his outfit was really beautiful. Like, he was dressed in this red suit, you know, like fresh to death. And the way it was, like, it was very form fitting. I think he likes the form fitting suits to kind of show off his figure, but it was like a red suit. He really stood out. He's short. It wasn't my first time seeing him. I met him back in I always get okay, excuse me, y'all. I always get notifications when I go live. But I had met Kevin Hart back in Atlanta, actually in Walmart, when I was living in Atlanta. I think this was like 2010, y'all. Oh no, I was in Atlanta 2011 to 2014. I think it was like 2012, whatever year it was. Anyway, is when I met Kevin Hart, you know. So like, I know he was short. It's always funny to see Kevin Hart because people say he's not really funny, but he's like, him as a person, he's funny. Looking at him, he just gonna make you laugh. He's short, so that in and of itself make it funny, and just, I don't know, the way he act is just funny. He's very humble, which I like. And so he came with Tiffany Haddish. Tiffany Haddish, she was dressed in this really like tight, form-fitting black dress that kind of spread out at the bottom. It was like kind of free flowing at the bottom, but it was like the waist was tight. You know, you can see her figure. I'm like, okay, she wearing that dress, and like, I didn't know she was that thick, but I'm like, okay, she got some hips, and like, she was nice, you know, looking real nice, real beautiful and everything, right? And so let me see, it was nice. That was like the red carpet part, which was like right before the actual screen of the movie. And so that was outside, and then we went inside because I felt like the red carpet, like, that was a good amount of time we was out there, for at least about a good hour that we was out there, and you know, the whole photo ops and stuff like that. And then we went inside the theater, and even before we actually went to see the movie began to screen, that we was actually watching the movie, we were out like in the lobby area, and it was like, it was so many people, like celebrities, and nobody really was walking around with like a bodyguard or security or anything. I'm sure they probably had undercover security, but you could not really tell like that was their bodyguard. Like, everybody was just celebrities, just walking around freely. It was cool, y'all. Like, I liked it. Meaning, when I say freely, like, you can actually go up to the celebrities and take pictures with them. I actually got a picture with the producer, Will Packer. Like, I love his work. I think he's also the director of Girls Trip, but he got like a whole portfolio of work. Like, this man, he got a whole body of work. He legit. And I think he's also a graduate of FAMU. But I took a picture with a selfie with him, which I posted on my Facebook page. You guys can go check that out. And it was just beautiful. So that lasted for about a good, I don't know, maybe half hour before we actually went into the theater. And then they actually gave like everybody free popcorn. Like, we got free refreshments, which I think was good. You know, like, here we are, here to support the movie, because it's not so much about, okay, we get to see a free movie, but it's like, no, we're helping promote the movie. It's the reason why they have these premieres and advanced screenings before the general public goes to see it, because it's to promote the movie. And like, either like the fans, like they gave us Kevin Hart face, Tiffany Haddish face, and on the back it says, it has their names, night school, and then the day it's released, which is my birthday, y'all. So it was like really nice. And so, you know, we go inside, you know, of course, still mingling with the celebrities, and you know, went to the ride, got my refreshments, went to the restroom, you know, ended up taking a picture with the producer, Will Packer, and then we go inside the theater. And so it was like, everybody come in, we're getting ready, you know, to screen the movie, we're getting ready to start the movie or whatever. So they had to like get everybody to come in, because people were still out there just socializing, which was good. It's beautiful. Like, like I said, all positive energy, y'all. Positive energy in the room. It was so many people, just all kinds of people, black, white, Hispanic, all kinds, y'all. We was in the building, and so we go inside the theater, and Kevin Hart and like the other cast members and people who worked on the film, they were like kind of towards the front of the theater, right? Because it was like waiting for everybody to come in before they actually went to the front to give like their introduction, introduce the movie and everything. And so being that my seat, y'all, my ticket seat was like right in the front, I had to go past Kevin Hart, and I saw him. I was like, "What's up, Kev?" And he was like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like real down to earth, cordial, which I expect because that's just who he is. Like he's real cool, y'all. Like you have some people that make it in Hollywood, you know, get all that money and fame, and they just act like they was never struggling. You know, they just act like they ain't come from the hood. They forget where they come from, essentially. But no, not Kevin Hart. Like he was real down to earth. He was like, "What's up?" You know, just being himself. And so then I eventually made it to my seat. And then when everybody was seated, they actually came out, and then they basically introduced the movie. You know, it was just like proper protocol that they usually take at premieres. You know, the producers, directors, the main cast members of the movie come out and they talk about, you know, their experience in working on the movie, what it was like, which I have video footage of that. You guys can go back and watch. I haven't uploaded all of it, but I'll be getting to it today. If not today, tomorrow I'll be uploading more footage of the premiere from last night. And uh yeah, he was doing that. You know, I was very supportive. Y'all probably, if y'all see something, I'm pretty sure because I'm in a lot. Like the cameraman, they were putting the camera on me too. Like they put the cameras like on the fans. Pretty much everybody who was at the event, like you know, they want to get good coverage or whatever. So like there were times where the cameraman actually came and you know put the camera directly in my face, you know, and was just like, "Hey, what's up?" You know, trying to get my reaction and stuff. So I'm pretty sure y'all probably gonna see me there somewhere if y'all watch any of the footage from the LA premiere of Night School. But yeah, it was nice. And so I'm trying to remember like some of the things that they share about the movie. Just it was the kind of basic stuff. He was just saying how he really appreciated being, you know, the opportunity of being able to work on the movie and the people that he had on, you know, the movie, da da da. So it was kind of basic stuff. You guys go back and watch the footage that I recorded of that. And then the movie starts, y'all. So here is where I'm going to do the movie review. And I'm just going to keep it real, you know. So now at the end, I'll tell y'all how many stars I give it. But okay, so the movie gets started, and I already warned y'all this is a spoiler alert. So if you don't want to know what happens exactly in the movie, then this is not the movie review that you should watch. But for you guys who don't care and who are curious, keep watching. So movie stars, everybody, of course, everybody anxious, you know, excited to see like what's all the hype about, right? And so I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and it was funny. Like hands down, the opening was funny as hell. Very funny. Like I like the dialogue. Like whoever wrote, I should have researched this before I started. Like who fucking wrote the script to this movie? It's a really important piece. But it's a good thing because since I don't know the person's name, you guys can go and research it. But or at least comment below if you already know who is the writer, which is I should know this. I'm a writer myself. How do I not know? But okay. So I was like, okay, well, you know, I say within the first, I don't know, let's say 3-5 minutes of the movie, like in my mind, I'm giving props to the writer, like, okay, very strong opening, because like it grabs you. That's like the beginning, which it as it should. Every screenplay, the first 3-5 minutes should grab the audience. Like if not, then no point in watching it. You know, the movie is worthless. But you know, I can actually honestly say that the first 5 minutes strong, very good acting. The dialogue, this I think is the most important. The dialogue was really strong and funny. Like it was loaded with jokes, like back to back jokes. It's gonna have you laughing. And so But y'all know me, I have to put my analytical hat on. Like, I'm always wearing my analytical hat, you know, which should be a blessing and a curse because it's like, okay, I come there to be entertained and enjoy the movie, but at the same time analyzing the movie like piece by piece, you know, and that's what makes my movie review. That's what makes my movie reviews much different than everyone else because I actually take the time to do a critical analysis of the movie, specifically looking at subliminal messages, racial subliminal undertones that were in the movie. That was like my main focus and lens in which I analyzed this movie and looked at this movie through an analytical lens, looking at the racial undertone, the subliminal, because it's always subliminal messages hidden in these movies, y'all, especially these big budget film productions. It's like you can't ignore it because we know that there are a lot of white hands in this movie. There are worked on this movie, a lot of white hands. Anytime you have white hands in a movie, which I feel like the writer, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of writers, you know, I think, because being that it was a heartbeat production, as most big budget productions. I mean, you have the main screenwriter, but then you have it's a writing team, you know, people that help support and develop the script, you know, and even add, you know, suggestions as far as the dialogue. So I can tell, like, when I was watching it, I'm just like, that's a white person's perspective, you know, that's something a white person may say, and it may sound stereotypical, but I'm just like, no, y'all, when y'all watch this movie, you'll see what I'm saying, because I'm just gonna jump right in. So they have in the movie is like, of course, the main cast and is, you know, a colorful array of different characters. So you have Kevin Hart, you know, who kind of portrays like, I'm just gonna keep it real. He portrays like the stereotypical dumb nigga, you know, like, which I kind of got offended. It's like I was laughing like the first 5 minutes, you know, because I was so excited. But then I started to really listen and analyze with the critical lens, and I'm just like, wait a minute, who wrote this shit? That's some racist ass shit right there, you know. I just felt like the dialogue was coming from the perspective of a white writer because it was like it was trying to be funny, but at the same time it was like it was a slight, you know. It was like you're trying to, you know how like somebody tell a joke, you're trying to be funny, but at the same time you put somebody down, and it was a lot. It's a lot of that, and especially like towards the beginning of the movie, like even through the middle, it's a lot of like offensive, racist jokes masked with humor. And I feel like that's the place. If you want to get away with racism, what better place to get away with racism than in a comedy movie? They say comedy and horror movies are the two places where you can easily hide racism and not really get attacked for it. But hey, not with this woman, because this woman always has her eyes open and ears open for racial bias. Like, hey, that's the meat and bones of my research, y'all, my dissertation. Like, I can't help it, y'all. I'm just wired that way. And so, even though I enjoyed the movie, of course, you know, like, I'm not going to go out there and spend that much time and not enjoy it. You know, I'm going to find something that I can take away from the movie and enjoy it. So, yeah, of course I enjoyed it. It's a comedy movie. It's like, you know, I enjoy comedy. I have a comedic side myself, so how can I not appreciate a comedy movie? So of course I appreciate it, but I have to be critical of it and just tell the truth. And so again, like I was saying, you have the Kevin Hart character, typical dumb nigga, right? And I put that in quotations because I don't use that kind of language, but that's just the stereotype that he played. That's the character that he played. You had I laugh, y'all. You had the conscious brother. Actually, I'm like, interesting, how relevant. Like, that's why I kind of give kudos to whoever the writers are in the movie, because that's important. Like, that's the times we live in. You know, we live in a racial society. It's not post-racial. It's very racial, and it's interesting that they are aware of that. Like, the movie itself was conscious, even though they actually had a conscious character in the movie. You know, this black man who's supposed to be like a Muslim, and he was like a conscious brother in the movie. And so by them placing a conscious character in the movie, I gotta give kudos to the writers. of the movie because it's like it makes it kind of like a conscious comedy movie, so to speak, especially with that role that he played. And then you have the typical white, the white man with power in the movie. Like every kind of character you see in real life, especially in America, was in that movie. So I feel like that's how people in America, especially, probably it's not just in America, but worldwide, who see this movie, they can be able to identify and relate to it because it's like a part of everybody is in that movie. Every kind of character you can think of is like in that movie. It's like it's very culturally diverse, so to speak. And you have like typical kind of ditzy airhead white girl, you got like, I don't know if you want to call it ditzy white blonde head white girl or hippie. I don't know what her stereotypical, I guess like a crossover between those two, right? Like the kind of dumb blonde slash um I don't know, like hippie white girl, I guess you can say. That's how she came off to me anyway. Let me see. What am I missing? I mean, there's like a different array, but those were the main characters that kind of jumped out to me. And so these characters, the main characters, essentially the storyline of the movie, they're in night school. Now, initially, I thought before I seen the movie, I thought the night school was like college. I'm thinking, okay, it follows the people, a group of characters like who are in college, but no, these motherfuckers are going to get their GED, y'all, and it makes it so funny because I think that's their way. That's the comedic license that they had in the movie, basically how they were able to get away with these racial undertones, very racist and kind of offensive. Like if you're a kind of person who kind of see things very critically and analytically, and you don't like to laugh too much, like I'm going to give you a warning. You're going to be offended by some of the stuff in it because they pick on everybody. And I feel like that's how they're able to get away with it because they ain't just pick on the conscious brother in the movie. They pick on everybody. They ain't just pick on the typical dumb black nigga that the role that Kevin Hart played. They pick on everybody. Christians, Muslims, the rich white man, the white man who think he at the top, but he's really dumb. That they pick on everybody, y'all, in the movie. So it's like, okay, I guess they get a pass. Because they didn't leave nobody out. Everybody got picked on in the movie. So that's what I think that's what was the redemptive factor. Like that's what was the redemption in the movie. Because at first they kind of like they had me, they sucked me in. I was laughing, but then they started to pick on all, like hide all these kind of racist jokes, within the dialogue of these characters, and I'm like, hold the fuck on, But then I seen, okay, they picking on kind of everybody, so equal opportunity. So I didn't feel as bad, and I was able to kind of let my guard down a little bit and enjoy the movie. And so basically, Kevin Hart, he didn't in the movie, his character, which I don't remember his name, the character's name in the movie, but I'm just gonna say Kevin Hart. He didn't graduate from high school, and so he ended up because he was in a relationship. I think he was actually married to a woman, so he had a good personal life, but his professional life was kind of like at a standstill. He was trying to like make it up the ranks in his field, which I think was like financial services. But in order to get the promotion, they wanted him to have a high school diploma or a GED, which he didn't. He didn't never graduate from high school, and so he essentially had to go back to night school, which was the name of the movie, to get his GED. Now, of course, he wasn't the only person who had to go back to night school. Like I said, the characters that I described, they also had to go back to night school because they had their own individual reasons for why they wanted to go and get their GED to advance in the ranks. And so that's what I think makes this movie like a movie that anybody can relate to, And not only that, like I like the fact that it kind of touched upon certain political and social issues that are really pertinent, especially within education. And of course, you guys, I follow Dr. Umar Johnson, and I think it's funny, and I hope he goes see this movie because it's funny that part of the storyline in the movie touched upon special education. Obviously, because you're talking about adults, grown ass people, like in their late 20s, 30s, going back to night school to get a GED. So there got to be some special education issues up in there. It's just so funny, you guys. And so, in the process of Kevin Hart and the others, the main characters being in night school, of course they struggled with some academic issues, and initially when they first started the night school, now they had a test. Now Tiffany Haddish, I forget to say, but she actually plays the role of the night school teacher. She is the teacher in the movie, and she gives them this. She says that they have a test, and everybody in the class is all freaking out, like, oh shit, we got a test, right? So instead of them actually trying to study for the test, all the classmates came together to try to steal the test. This idea that they was going, okay, let's steal the test. And that, it was just so funny. They went through all of this fucking hell to try to steal the test, and still end up getting caught by Tiffany Haddish. Like, she knew what was up. And I forget, y'all, another important character in the movie who was also part of the night school was Fat Joe. And his character, he was actually an inmate in prison. So although he was part of the class, but the way he was part of the class was that he was Skyped in, which I think was very ingenious of the writers, directors of the movie, to have him in jail, but kind of Skyped in, because it kind of speaks to the technological age that we live in nowadays. I mean, everybody's, connected, with social media, and it's just different ways that we're able to do things nowadays in the age that we live in now versus how it was back then. It wouldn't have been able, that wouldn't have been a possibility. So it kind of basically adds a certain time to the movie. Now, I'm pretty sure years from now, the movie is still going to be funny, but it places a certain timestamp on the movie to say, okay, this is a time period this movie was made in, being that we have a character in the movie in jail, and he's Skyped into this class to be able to participate in this night school class. It was just funny because, like, while the class was going on, and I believe that's his name, Fat Joe. Okay, he was in jail, and meanwhile, while the class is in session, a fight breaks out in jail. So he gets into this fight, and he beats up the people that were attacking him in jail while the class is in session. And the people that's actually in the physical live class, they watching this happen to Fat Joe. They watching him beat somebody's ass, and like, he actually came back to the class like nothing happened, after he got done fighting. Just hilarious, y'all. Like, you can tell with comedy, they really push the envelope. That's just how comedy is. So it's just like, good and well, this was like, it would never happen in real life. That's what makes it so funny, because they really push the envelope. And so that happens, and actually I believe it was him, or no, the supposedly smart, the white guy, who in most people's eyes may think, okay, he's smart, but he was actually the dumb one, because he the one kind of revealed that they stole the test. And Tiffany Haddish was like, well, I didn't say that somebody stole the test, but they basically told on themselves, as it always happens. Like, people try to come together and commit a crime, and somebody gonna tell the truth. Like, the truth somehow gets out, and that's essentially what happened in the movie. That the cat was out the bag, and they found out that they cheated. And so Tiffany Haddish, being the great teacher that she was in the movie, came up with this very smart idea to develop a different way to teach the students, and specifically Kevin Hart, who was mainly struggling with the material, and she actually had him test it. And this is the part that I cracked up on, right? Because they actually gave him a psychological exam to see what was going on in the areas that he had weaknesses in. And I laugh because, I mean, you guys know I'm a psychologist in training, and that's part of what we do. We don't just do therapy, we do psychological testing, and specifically we test for people who have learning disabilities to see, okay, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, and ways in which they can get help with those. And so, come to find out, y'all, this is so funny. Like, when she came back and gave him the results of the psychological test, she was like, So, found out that you are dyslexic, you have dyscalculia. He was like, dyscalculia, what's that? Which basically is like the math version of dyslexia. And then he was, they determined that he had a processing disorder, and he was just like, what? And so she explained it to him, what it meant or whatever. And so from those results, she realized that she had to take a different approach to teach him, because he just wasn't getting it. It's like she was up there trying to teach him, I think it was geometry, and yeah, teach him the Pythagorean theorem. That word is like so hard to say. Even in the movie, they were stumbling over the word. It's like a tongue twister, but and he just wasn't getting it. He was just like, the numbers were just coming out to him in 3D, and he was getting distracted. And she was like, okay, focus. And so in the movie, they showed where she actually used boxing to teach him, to kind of get him more, to make him more focused and alert, and on what he was learning. And so with that approach, he actually was able to remember and retain the material that she was teaching him. Ironically, and it's not really so ironic, because teachers nowadays, good teachers anyway, they come up with these strategies and different little tricks of the trade to kind of step outside of the traditional box of education, the traditional means of how teachers teach students, to be able to reach their kids, because some kids just learn differently. You can't teach every kid the same way. And so she was very crafty in her approach, and somehow it was kind of sinking in, like it actually was effective. However, like towards the end of the movie, they all had to take this test to be able to pass and get their GED. And it's funny because everybody passed. And it was reading off the scores, and everybody was like checking their devices, like, okay, this is the score I got, right? So everybody was looking at their scores and reading out the scores, saying they passed. But when it came around to Kevin Hart to read his score, kind of find out he didn't pass. He was like, you could tell, because first of all, he was nervous, so he didn't read his score initially. I think he had his teacher do it, Tiffany Haddish, and she was looking, and her face pretty much said it all. And I thought that, okay, she was just fucking with him, by kind of saying, looking like things weren't looking too good. And then when you seen, like, she was like, no, sorry, you didn't pass. And it was like, but I think I was the only one, you guys, who bust out laughing. Like, that was funny to me. I was like, everybody else felt bad for Kevin Hart, but I don't know, being that he's a comedian, like, and knowing that it's a comedy movie, I can't help but laugh, y'all. So that shit had me tripped up. Like, it was just a perfect moment to laugh, because it was like everybody else before him, all his classmates had read off their passing scores, and it came down to him, and he was just all hyped up, like hoping he passed. And then she told him like what his score was, and that he didn't pass, and he was just like, I just changed the whole mood. Like, I swear, I think I was it was kind of awkward moment in the theater, because I think I was the only person who literally bust out laughing. Nobody else laughed, y'all, and I was just like, I guess I was supposed to laugh at that, but that was funny to me. Like, and I know I have a very weird sense of humor, but that shit was funny to me. And so he didn't pass, but she was encouraging him, keep trying or whatever. And he didn't give up. He was like, I'm gonna pass. And I think he took the test at least about 3 times, and he ended up passing. And everybody graduated and lived happily ever after. That was the end. So I pretty much gave you guys the movie. And how long did it take for me to do this? Wow, I thought I would have reached an hour by now, but I've been talking pretty fast. So yeah, that's pretty much my review, you guys. Like, I'm trying to figure out, did I miss anything? I'm pretty sure I did, but that's pretty much like the main part, like, I wanted to share with you guys, like, in terms of my review. But back to the subliminal message. Hold on, let me take a sip. My brain is telling me, Danielle, go home and lay down. I didn't get home till like 11:30. Like, it was kind of late when I got home, and probably didn't fall asleep till like 1:30, and ended up getting up like 6:45 this morning. So I'm kind of operating a little bit of lower energy than what I normally. And then I've been in class all day, been learning, been talking all day, and now it's just like I here I'm doing this video, so excuse me, you guys, if I get tripped up a little bit. But as far as the subliminal messages, I mean, they were laden throughout the movie, like heavy in the movie. And I'm just like, okay, I know this is comedy, but what made them think they could sit up here and say this? Because going back to the guy, the student who was a conscious brother, it's like people was making jokes on him, which I feel like they were essentially making jokes on people in the conscious community. That's what I felt like. I'm like, okay, they sitting here trying to make jokes on a conscious man, but we know who they're really talking about, because it's a message. I mean, I feel like movies are messages. Essentially, they're communicating a message through the media, which is this movie, this platform, and like, I'm trying to remember some of the jokes. Like, they were just tripping. It was like saying, "Oh, what the fuck is woke? What the fuck does that mean?" Like, they were trying to play down. Like, they didn't know what that meant. The movie, and people were laughing. It was just like, cause I don't think there was that many woke people who were attending the screening last night at the premiere. I feel like, I mean, it was black people there, but you had the black community, which is more broad, and then you have the conscious community, which is like this, very small. And I feel like a lot of people in the black community, they sit up here and make jokes on woke people, conscious community people. They're just like, sometimes people take that shit too far. And I think there was even a joke made in the movie like, oh, this conscious shit is just too hard, like, it was just so many jokes, and then I got offended because the brother who was supposed to be so-called conscious, he was using so much profanity. I'm like, it's like, I felt like that was like an oxymoron. It was trying to portray this black man as a conscious man, but he was using, there's nothing wrong necessarily with profanity, but it's how you use it. And he kept saying the word bitch, which I don't use. I don't like that word, but he just like kept saying it, referring to women, and not just women, but I think his women, like his girl that he was dating, like, as a bitch. And I just didn't like that. I'm like, what's up with, like, what is this? What is this? So disrespectful, and especially to supposed to be representing himself as a conscious brother. But I get it. It's comedy, so they get a free pass. But I'm just like, come on, that's offensive. They said it. I can't even count how many times they use the B word. It was just so many. I feel like the B word to me is synonymous with the N word. It's very oppressive. It's offensive, and I'm just like, I don't like it. I know a lot of times women use the B word with each other as friends, but I'm like, I don't have friends that call me the B word, and if they do, we not friends. Like, no, I cut myself off from people like that because I don't like that. I have a name, and I prefer people to call me by my name or something more respectful. But bitch, no. No one can convince me that, okay, sorry, but nobody can convince me that calling me a bitch is good. So no, I would never accept that. But it was used heavily in the movie. And another funny part that I wanted to talk about before I go is the before, like, along the way of the character Kevin Hart, he actually was considering getting a job at this chicken place. I think he actually did, or did he? I'm trying to remember. He went there and he was inquiring about the job, and then the manager, who was a white man, right? The name of the place is called Christian Chicken. Now, that, to me, that was funny as hell, which I think is another part where I bust out laughing. I think I was the only person laughing. I'm like, y'all don't think this is funny? Like, to me, that was funny to me when the guy was like, this is he was so proud, like the owner. He was like, Christian Chicken. That shit was funny as hell. And they actually, like, when Kevin Hart was there, the guy was like, giving a spiel about his company and how it operates. And he was like, yeah, we actually pray. So they actually said a prayer, like the employees at Christian Chicken was saying, they're holding hands and a prayer. Like, this shit was too funny, y'all. Too funny. And the job that he was trying to offer Kevin Hart was for him to dress up in a costume and go out there and promote Christian chicken to recruit customers to get them to come inside. I just like, oh my gosh, this shit is a trip, y'all. But you know what? My body is telling me that, girl, you need to get some food and go home and lay down and catch up on your sleep. So, as much as I would like to continue going on and on and on and on about this movie review, I think I pretty much covered all the bases that I wanted to talk about as far as this new movie that's about to come out September 28th on my birthday. Night School, you guys. Go see it. I mean, honestly, being that I love Kevin Hart, being that this is his very first Heartbeat Productions. And for you guys who don't know Heartbeat Productions, that's his film production company that he owns, y'all. Like all of his stand-up comedy specials that you guys have seen him in, he's produced. He paid for. I think that is very like admirable. So I have nothing but love and support for Kevin Hart, you know, because I feel like y'all don't understand how hard it is, especially being a black person, an artist, entrepreneur. It's hard. Yeah, it may seem like it's easy, but it's hard. Even for someone, you know, as Stephen Hart's catcher, with his stature, like catcher, you know, it's time for me to end. With Kevin Hart's stature, you guys, like even him, it's hard for him. You know, it's hard out there. So that's why I have much love and respect for him as a creator, you know, with his company and taking risks, you know, going out there and producing this movie. His very first movie under his productions is amazing. I remember when he first launched his production, I was like, you know, I am about to launch this studios, and I was like on board, one of the first people who actually subscribed to his YouTube channel, and it didn't have that many subscribers, and I'm like, I know it's going to grow over time because, you know, he's Kevin Hart. So much love and respect for him because he's humble. He just, you know, he's very talented. You know, he put a lot of work. It's the reason why Hollywood loves him, you know. And some people say he's a sellout, but I don't buy into that. I feel like he worked hard. This man he grind. He don't get no sleep. And I think that he was just in New York City the day before the LA premiere. I'm like, he just all over the place. How in the hell? I don't see how you do it, but he did it. And I believe that this movie is going to be a huge success because it's under his production company. And he partnered with, I believe it's Universal Studios, if I'm not mistaken. And he talked about that in the introduction to his movie. He was like saying how proud he was to partner with Universal because beforehand he would just be, you know, a for hire, you know, so coming on board, being hired and paid to do a certain role or task. But with this project, you know, he's co-partner. He owns it. You know, so of course he played a major role in the decision making, you know, the development of this movie. So kudos to him. And for that, being that it's his very first film, like I feel like I'm a big supporter of not just people who are already so-called made it, but I mainly support people who are on the up and up. I mean, you guys can go check out my brand Ubawa, spelled UBAWA, but that's purely dedicated to supporting up and coming authors, specifically African American self-published authors. So that's what I'm all about. Just pouring out my heart to support authors who out there doing it independently, you know, and not just authors, they're writers, they're directors, screenwriters, producers themselves. So some of the people that the authors I promoted, have networked and collaborated with through Bawa, you guys are going to be seeing on the big screen, you know, because everybody starts from somewhere. So I just feel like when a person is kind of on an up and up, and especially if it's a first project, like just give them support. Of course they need, you know, criticism, and I feel like I've already done that earlier, you know, talking about some of my analysis of those racial undertones that I've seen. But that would be, I would say, my biggest criticism, and probably only criticism, except for one scene where I noticed there was a little bit shaky camera. But that's, you guys probably won't even notice that. Like something that I noticed because I'm looking at it through a filmmaker's lens. Like we notice everything when you're kind of behind the camera and you've, you know, shot your own documentaries or pieces. It's like you notice things like that. You notice where a camera is positioned, how it's positioned, how many cameras are on a particular set up. It's like you can tell because that was part of what I did. You guys probably aren't aware. You may be aware that I actually went to film school before I started my PhD out here in California. Like I was actually in film school, so we had to not only develop projects, doing it from like the ground up, where we write, we actually put together, we bring on a team, a production team, and then we go through the pre-production, production, and post-production phase. I know, like, I've had experience in every phase of the development and production of a film and movie. But we also had to do like the reverse process. So we would take a film that's already produced and kind of break down the scene and say, okay, this is where this camera was, this is the type of lighting. This, we had to actually say, I remember for my cinematography exam, we had to break down several scenes, and very complicated scenes where there are a lot of cameras. So we had to say, okay, this is where this camera was placed. Not only the placement of the camera, but we had to talk about like what lens was used. We had to talk about the lighting, how many lights were used, where the lights were positioned, and what the type of lighting, like all of that. So I know all of that kind of lingo, which you guys probably don't really care about, but yeah, that's my world. So I can't wait till I get ready to produce my documentary and film, American Dreamer, coming soon, you guys. Coming soon. It's kind of like in the near future. You guys will be hearing more about that in the near future. But yeah, that's my whole world. So I think, yeah, one scene I noticed that. I was like, okay, camera's shaking a little bit too much. What's going on here, right? And I felt like, okay, maybe that's part of the story. That's how they're trying to tell the story, give some type of effect. But I'm like, nah, someone seemed right about that. But outside of that, great movie. So I give it 5 stars, 5 out of 5 stars. Much love for Kevin Hart. Much love for all the people who worked on the film. Tiffany Haddish, director, producer, Will Packer. Like, shout out to everybody. I know it was a lot of work. It's not easy work working on a film. As easy as it may sound, being in the entertainment industry, it is not easy. It's probably one of the most difficult yet most rewarding jobs a person can have. Like, in fact, okay, I gotta say this before I close. In fact, like, I would say working on like film sets, the best, I would say for me, the best job that I've ever had was working on film sets, because you just have the freedom to be yourself, and you in a world around creative. It's just something special about the world of creativity. Like, it does something to me, but it's beautiful because you get to be a part of it, and you see the finished product, and it's just like amazing. And just seeing that, it's just, I think you appreciate it more because you consider how much work goes into it, like the time that it takes. Like, it's a lot of work that goes into film projects. But that's why I just have much respect, because it's not easy for people who don't know much about the process of filmmaking. They go to the theater and they see a film, and they're like, and they just think that it was just thrown together. But hell no, especially now with these big budget production films. Like, it takes a lot, it really does. So hats off to everyone who worked on film school. 5 stars. You guys go see it. September 28th. That is my birthday. I'll be turning 35 years old. I'm so happy. But hey, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go home. Headed back to Hollywood. Catch you guys later. Love you guys. Bye.